I'm 36. Did anybody go to a high school party or some college party? Be like, oh shit, like go to the back, bro. That's where they're shoving the alcohol in your fucking ass. Were people doing that? What? I've never heard of ass drugs as a method of delivery ever. Maybe some people do. The only drug I've ever boofed in my entire life was creatine, baby. Hell yeah. Your muscles instantly get
rotation and connected to it than, in my experience, cocaine alone.
Does it require more frequency to maintain the high?
Yes. Yes. And the capacity to use more than you could otherwise with powder cocaine, just physically, to be able to ingest it.
So you're kind of saying that cocaine reaches a certain plateau of euphoria where you can't necessarily get any higher?
In my experience, yes. This is like a PSA. If you want to, connected to it, then in my experience, the combination of all of those addictive behaviors together becomes like really powerful. And the drug in and of itself is a more immediate euphoric sensation and connected to it than, in my experience, cocaine alone.
Does it require more frequency to maintain the high?
Yes. Yes. And the capacity to use more than you could otherwise with powder cocaine, just physically, to be able to ingest it.
So you're kind of saying that cocaine reaches a certain plateau of euphoria where you can't necessarily get any higher?
My experience, yes. It's like a PSA. If you want to completely utterly fuck up your life, I don't think that anything is necessarily, you do it once and take it. About the closest thing that statement to be true would be the
I mean, if you look at the impact in communities in the inner city in the 80s, it led to an entire generation being destroyed, left without parental guidance and stuff.
When I went to Yale Law School, and I had a professor who was one of the key voices in the country at the time, from a policy perspective and a law perspective, about the inequities of our drug laws. And you could very much make an argument that, by the way, the crime bill that my dad helped architect was the consequences of what you call the crack war during those periods of time. The result of the war against crack cocaine, or was it the result of crack cocaine itself? I'm not saying that crack in and of itself is in any way safe or recommended, but the response to it, I think, was far more destructive in those communities than the actual drug itself.
You got to be careful for this crime bill stuff, and maybe there might be an argument to be made about it. But like, the reason why this crime bill passed, the reason why all of America wanted this crime bill, is because like drugs and violence were legitimately like ravaging a lot of these communities. You have to be careful trying to like retrospectively apply like today's framing. Like the 90s was the worst in U.S. history for violent crime.
Which, by the way, like all drugs, all addictions, completely dependent upon the way in which the community responds to them. Nobody gets clean and sober without community. Nobody gets clean and sober without support. If the response is met with just violence, from the dealing to the destruction, I don't.
Do you think that, like, looking back at the pyramid and stuff, your dad and that kind of?
Oh yeah, was on this very he eradicated it all, and then he pardoned almost everybody during the administration that had been swept up and was still in prison related to the disparities in the federal sentencing. Obviously, he had no control of the state. Hundreds of people were commuted sentences and pardoned.
Do you feel like your paper helped implant that idea in his mind and help forward that cause?
No, I don't think he's ever much paper at Yale more than anybody. He was my paper at Yale, but I do know this, that at the very end, that was the only thing that I can say that I truly made in with my dad was on that level, and he was pushing on an open door. I think people forget the historic record of people that he pardoned based upon the drug laws.
Also, he pardoned Leonard Peltier, or commuted his sentence from life imprisonment in Florida to house arrest at the Turtle Mountain Reservation.
I'm never more proud of my dad. And again, remember, the only things that I advocated for.
Peltier and the sentencing reform. Yeah, we just did a report up in North Dakota about his homecoming event, and it was definitely interesting. I didn't think it would happen.
Hey guys, here's a quick preview of our upcoming episode that's being referenced called Leonard Peltier himself.
It is a victorious day as our relative is here in the flesh.
President Joe Biden commuted the life sentence of Leonard Peltier.
The 79-year-old has served nearly 50 years in prison after being convicted for the 1975 killing of 2 FBI agents.
The young man is spending life in prison for something he almost certainly did not do.
Leonard Peltier and others killed Williams and Collier in cold blood on the reservation because they happened to be there at the wrong place at the wrong time.
He's considered by a lot of people to be America's longest serving political prisoner.
People today don't understand the FBI of 73. They would have to Martin Luther King. It is in that context that Peltier was going after.
The Peltier group, because just driven away, came to the agent's car, Williams and Collier, and killed them both at point blank. I think I speak for all FBI agents. It's a kick in the balls. That's...
I know in my heart that I never killed anybody.
Howdy there, Jake Forward here, C5 Group in beautiful Belport, North Dakota, homelands of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians. Right now, we're standing at the entrance to the casino here.
Only Gen Z would interview a crackhead and respect him, and only MAGA would elect a rapist and worship him.
And they're hosting an amazing event to honor the longest-held political prisoner in the United States, Leonard Peltier. So let's check it out.
My spirit name is One Who Carries the Light. Turtle Mountain, born and raised, just here to celebrate Leonard Peltier coming home. There's a town that you enter before you come into the Turtle Mountains. We got word that there was all sorts of community members who stood out on the side of the road, children, elders, probably 20 below, maybe even colder with the wind, and they're out there, fists high, cheering on Leonard, and it was a powerful moment.
If you could describe today in one word, what word would that be?
Coming today. Thank you, Turtle Mountain.
I wish to be described.
Come on, I love this people. Thank you for inviting us.
So I've been studying his case, and you have to realize there are elements that were inside of the FBI that still, to the very end, were very threatening. Said that there would be huge consequences within that community of the former and current FBI agents who still firmly believe that Leonard Peltier was responsible for the death of that agent. Anyway, so I knew an inordinate amount about the case and had studied the case. I was in a course of a guy named Stephen Bright, who ran the Southern Center for Human Rights, not the Southern Poverty Law Center. Two different organizations, same purpose, but the Southern Center for Human Rights, which mainly dealt with representing people on death row. One of the cases that we touched on, because I don't think Leonard was ever taken off of death row. Anyway, we worked on Hurricane Carter's case, and I became friendly with Stephen Bright, who's a leading expert in unjustly imprisoned people. And so we studied Leonard's case. I was really, really, really proud, because it was a really courageous thing that I think that my dad did by letting him out. And I think some people take it for granted that, well, why wouldn't the president do that? It was the right thing to do. He was 80, blah, blah, blah. Because you have a lot of really, really powerful people that can really mess with your life, and particularly in this atmosphere, by doing the right thing.
What do you think is the biggest inconsistency in the government's case against Peltier?
The two cases that were held against his two accomplices, who both were acquitted, and the lack of evidence that was allowed in Leonard's case as related to the lead-up to that event on Pine Ridge, where the tribal police force, along with the FBI, just basically created a goon squad. And over 60 individuals have been tribal members and living on the reservation. I think it was over 60 have been murdered by this goon squad, been taken out. Was it 60 or 60? I can't remember the exact numbers. But they were on a mission, basically backed by the FBI. And the judge never allowed all of that information which they had got into the case. One of the things that also was is that the woman that they said was Leonard's girlfriend, and they were able to extradite him from Canada to the United States. They used her testimony to justify extradition from Canada. Once they got him back, she completely recanted and said that she was basically threatened by the FBI to say that she was Leonard Peltier's girlfriend and that she witnessed the whole thing.
Federal judge sentences ex-officer to nearly 3 years in prison for using excessive force during the deadly raid of Breonna Taylor's apartment in 2020. I wonder which officer was sentenced. One of these officers, this is just the most wild thing in the universe to me. I can't talk about how I think you would respond to this because it would be counted as Fed person. Okay, so like, unfortunately, I can understand both sides' reactions when it comes to the cops at the door. So cops were serving a no-knock warrant so they can like break down the door, right? So a cop is here. Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, I don't know, it was like in a hallway or something here. They break down this door, and he fires first, hits an officer. I think they return fire, and somehow as they're shooting into here, I guess Breonna Taylor's in bed, and I think she gets killed. There was an officer who was like outside in the parking lot, saw things going on, and just starts shooting into the outside. Like, the antenna is damaged. We can only talk locally. Why? It was just like the most random retard. Like, imagine you're looking outside and there's some cop like shooting at an apartment. It's like, sir, what are you shooting at? He's like, I don't know. There's like shit going on in there. She was shooting too, I thought. Oh no, I don't think she was in bed. I don't think she was shooting. I think she was just behind her boyfriend, and I think she caught a bullet from the officer who returned fire. I believe is what happened. But this guy shooting outside. This is like, of all the, like, I can understand the cop shooting at the door. I can understand the boyfriend shooting outside the bedroom. That's the one that got sentenced. Oh, good. Okay, that guy is just insane.
Curtains are drawn. Hankinson blindly fires 5 bullets through the patio windows.
My only option was to return fire, and I did that to the muzzle flashes.
He moves, he fires 5 more rounds through the bedroom window of Taylor's sister, who isn't home. 2 bullets fly over Walker and Taylor, but none hits them. The bullets that go into the living area pass over Taylor's sofa and kitchen table and smash her clock. 3 penetrate the wall and enter her...
What the fuck are you even doing? It's an apartment. Like, there's so many different innocent people that can just get shot. It's just such a animal with firearms. Not good. Not good. We have no other choice. Start blasting. I was gonna miss it on all the action, guys.
We see that with the reservation, but they have a relationship to Leonard. There's a whole bunch of other inconsistencies.
On a deeper level, what do you think it was about Leonard that scared the federal government in such a capacity?
No, that's a good question. If you believe...
Destiny, you are so wrong about the difference between meth and amphetamines. What am I so wrong? I'm pretty sure they're very, very, very similar in function. The only difference, I think, methamphetamine, I think, can penetrate the blood-brain barrier a bit easier because of the methyl group. I don't know exactly why. But otherwise, the impact of it is very, very, very similar. It's similar, identical, I think. Once the method thing is Al-Qaeda was involved. So, probably points where Al-Qaeda was involved, and they still are involved to some extent. I think they still have like 100 square meters of like a...
Yeah, so the thing about that is...
This is the thing that's so tragic about Destiny is, obviously Destiny's on its crash out arc. But I love Destiny so much whenever he's tackling Hassan's points. And that's the real shame. I really wish Destiny would allow himself to not be miserable for one day so he could see how many people want to give him a chance and be cool.
Do you think that at this point, if he was blindfolded, do you think that Tectone would be able to immediately identify the difference in taste between Donut Operator's loads and Brandon Ferrero's loads or whatever? Like, do you think he's gotten to that point yet? Or would he still need to have, like, at least, like, an audio cue of them grunting while they stroke off into his open fucking mouth? I wonder if... Because I don't know how long they've been together, how long he's spent on his knees for him yet, but I was curious.
I think you had to understand the rest of the story of what the federal government was doing.
$100 dono! Please cover the reason for the crack epidemic in the U.S. in the 90s. If you don't know, look at Iran Contra. Oh, don't worry, I know. It's because the FBI ran into all the neighborhoods and gave everybody crack cocaine. I got it. I got it!
So they were systematically murdering members of an organization that were setting out to highlight the injustice that was occurring on reservations across the country. I think that we are in such a ahistorical, is that even the term, time right now? I know why they want to erase history. I know why they don't want to teach about the actual history of this country, because to do so makes a lie out of almost everything that they are trying to achieve. And how can anyone see the way in which then and now are treated by the federal government to the degree that they basically paid for and implemented a program to systematically murder those that were simply speaking the truth? Our government, the FBI. By the way, they were able to do much of it at his age. But all of the documentation was available. All of the communications were available at the time of the trial. And it doesn't allow that information to become shared.
You know what I just realized? Republicans were just born in the wrong era. MAGA, you know how people look back to the era of like knights and shit, and like, I wish I could have been a knight with a lady, and I was born in the wrong era, XTXT. If Republicans, like MAGA, would have just been born in like the 60s and 70s, our CIA and our FBI were legitimately up to a lot of like fucking wild and wacky shit. There would have been so many more great conspiracies for them to actually sink their teeth into. Instead of today, it's just like the most retardedly stupid shit in the universe. They were born in like wrong generation, XD.
Yeah, I mean, because if you look at the bigger picture, American Indian movement was just one of many groups that have heard.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe one above 150.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. 40, 50 years later, what has it been? How long has it been? 40?
Something like 50.
Yeah, almost exactly 50 years, I think, right? 75. Why do we still hold on to that? Because it still makes a lie. I don't believe in conspiracy theories in the sense of I don't believe that the government has the capacity to carry out a conspiracy. You know, a secret plan. It's all in the open, man. There's no conspiracy behind what ICE agents are doing in the streets of Los Angeles, you know, right now. Or, by the way, in the streets of Detroit or Chicago or Philadelphia or Tampa or whatever the hell they are, is that they're openly terrorizing people for the purpose of scaring the shit out of them. You know, people look at this moment in time and they get this...
Why 100 doesn't be honest? And tell us what his DGU is, okay?
Depression, I used to think it was hyperbole. I'm not so sure now. And the comparisons to 1930s and 1939 and 1932 and Kristallnacht and this time and a week before this and a week after this. And you know, I look at what we're going through right now as more associated with a moment in our own history, which was Reconstruction.
You're talking about, for reference, after the Civil War.
Yes, from 1865 to 1877. What people don't understand about Reconstruction is that we just fought the Civil War. All of the freedoms which the Constitution gave.
Can I just say that I hate the fucking fact that this guy knows more about everything than the entire Trump family combined? With the exception of, oh, whoa, never mind, hold on, I'm sorry. Kushner isn't Trump's son, no? He's, he married one of Trump's daughters, right? Kushner it seems like an intelligent person. But he's like married to in-law, yeah, okay, he must be, because nothing that comes from that genetic stock can have a higher IQ than 85. It's unbelievable. Unreal, dude. Can we go back to the corruption from like Trump 1 from his first term? Because at least he was mistakenly choosing people that had some level of competency. Like Jared Kushner, love or hate him, or regardless of whatever, right? And I have so many criticisms of the Abraham Accords. However, could you imagine fucking Don or fucking Eric or whatever negotiating the Abraham Accords? Can you imagine fucking Eric Trump on stage talking about anything in the Middle East? Like, at all? Like, it's unbelievable.
Was guaranteed for black citizens that had just been released from slavery. And people think there was this great migration, it all fell apart. The black.
Can you imagine Trump talking about Reconstruction? He's like, what do you mean? Did one of my buildings fall over? Do you remember when Trump was in front of the fucking... Oh my God. This was in the first term. Or was it the second one? Wait, Trump talks about liberalism, United Nations. Kill me. Wait. They asked him about like the state of like Western liberalism, and Trump doesn't know what liberalism is. He doesn't know what liberalism means. He thought that they meant like the liberals on the West Coast, and he starts rambling about fucking California. About fucking California! What the fuck? 6 years ago. Okay, this was in Trump 1.
My very first sim was a Logitech entry-level wheel. That's kind of where Logitech really came in, because they broke the boundaries of reality to simulation, and you get to live it every single day because of sim.
Jimmy Carter, look, he was a nice man. He was a terrible president. He's a Democrat, and it's a typical talking point. He's loyal to the Democrats, and I guess you should be. But as everybody now understands, I won not because of Russia, not because of anybody but myself. I thought that...
Wrong clip. Sorry. Retard.
The Zebra finds you savings on auto insurance that no one else can.
Hi.
Up to $400 a year. Please don't spend it on speeding tickets. The Zebra. We do the searching, you do the saving.
Okay.
Lost very serious consideration. There was Russia went through a lot. They lost, I guess, far more than anybody fighting the Nazis in terms of people. And he did invite me, and I said we would get back. But we were
Putin told him that.
Serious consideration. Okay, thank you.
The Financial Times, right before arriving here, was Western style.
Los Angeles, it's so sad to look at what's happening in San Francisco and a couple of other cities which are run by extraordinary liberal people.
Kill me. Fucking kill me. Actually fucking kill me. Trump won. How fucking retarded? How actually fucking retarded do you have to be? The leader of the free world, President of the United States of America. When he said Western liberalism, he thought he meant like liberalism on the West Coast, like Seattle, LA, San Francisco.
I don't know what they're thinking. He does see things that are happening in the United States that would probably improve them. So wonderful it is.
Why does Trump need to talk like that in the stupid best and greatest ever beautiful takes? They're not takes because he doesn't know the details of anything, right? Ask me how Conor McGregor's performance was at his last fight. He had the best and most beautiful punches, and he's just one of the greatest fighters of all time. He's a terrific, tremendous performer. I don't know, you just say shit when you don't know anything.
Black population, because of the weight of slavery or whatever other excuse you want to make, it fell into this communities of poverty and disenfranchisement, blah, 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 blah. Total bullshit. Between 1865 and 1877, the South Carolina state legislature was a majority black.
I was going to say the state senate that was, I think at the time based in Charleston, was almost all black.
Yeah, all black. And on top of that, by the way, it's a vast majority African-American state after the Civil War in South Carolina. You know, and by the way, which was where the first slaves were delivered in the 1600s, right there in Charleston. And so what happened after the Civil War? This amazing thing, this amazing renaissance. These people that jumped in, that had been in slavery for over 200 years. These communities are thriving. And then you have in, what was it, Colfax, Louisiana.
Is that where the first Klan started?
Not where the first Klan started, but the first major lynching occurred in the sense of this, is that you had in Colfax, Louisiana, you had black lawmakers that had gone in to secure the vote in this little town in the courthouse. And white supremacists surrounded the courthouse and they rolled up a cannon and they said, we're going to kill all of you unless you come out and give up this effort to, you know, and they're all wearing masks. Part of them were the local law enforcement. And so the black leadership comes out and they murder them all. And then they go on a rampage and they kill 105 African Americans. In Colfax, a town in Louisiana, what happens? Nothing. So the U.S. government doesn't do anything. The Union troops throughout the South won't take any action. Local law enforcement, the state does not prosecute the people. And then the federal government does prosecute a number of the people. The Jim Crow Supreme Court overturns their convictions. So nothing gets done. So what ends up happening? That happens all across the South. All across the country is this campaign of violence, a campaign of intimidation. And by the way, remember, how many states at that time? 16 states, 18 states at the time. You had 14 members of Congress that were black. You had 2 United States senators that were black between 1865 and 1877. And then the door shuts because everybody gave in to the corruption of the Supreme Court, the corruption of the president, Johnson ripping the rug out from under the entirety of Lincoln's Reconstruction plan. All achieved through violence, corruption, and making a complete and utter mockery of the Constitution.
And there's also this perception, if you look at whenever segregation on public transport was
Thanks, Wasco. This guy is legitimately, he knows more about U.S. history than the entire Trump cabinet. Plus Trump, although that doesn't have anything.
Plessy versus Ferguson, I think it was in 1902. There's this perception because of the voting records at that time, most people supported it. People don't understand, or some people do, but the Klan emerged as a voter intimidation force. It wasn't just simply terror for terror's sake, that was a part of it, but it was to specifically target black area polling stations, voting booths.
It did. And by the way, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. Whether it's voter suppression through violence and intimidation or disinformation, it's the same goddamn thing. It's whether it's an algorithm or whether it's a cross burning in your yard. That is what we have fought. We are caught in this loop. It's like the permanent Reconstruction loop. Okay? The permanent Jim Crow loop is that every single time that we get closer to that idea, that promise, that potential of a more perfect union, what ends up fucking happening is they come in and they shut the door down because there's this evil symbiosis between money and power. So what do? If I said to you, look, I'm going to tell you a story from the past. It's about a minority group of people that live in a country. It's constitutional democracy that has had its problems in the past, but it's an economic powerhouse, and it is the center of learning, it's the center of culture, it has a deep and rich history. But there is a minority group that those in power, that came in power through democratically elected means, are going to target this minority group because they're stealing all the jobs.
Today our cities are flooded with illegal aliens. Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force and their jobs are taken.
They're not originally citizens. They're not the original people.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you.
On top of that, they're spreading disease and distrust. And they're criminals. And they can be violent. They're eating your dogs and cats.
They're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats.
And what we're going to do...
Like, this was that was more unhinged than anything I've ever heard Joe Biden say in his entire presidency. And that any stumble, than any, blunder, whatever. Like, Kamala's literally laughing at him. And then all of this was fake. And JD Vance even said as much. Listen, if we have to use a fake issue to get Americans to care about real issues, that's
dogs and cats.
Unreal. How do you survive this? Unless your party just doesn't care.
The American media totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to,
But it wasn't just a meme.
create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, because you
it's Vosh.
Guys are completely letting Kamala Harris coast.
You just said that this is a story that you've created. So the eating dogs and cats thing is not.
We are creating. Dana, it comes from firsthand accounts from my constituents. I say that we're creating a story, meaning we're creating the American media focusing on it. I didn't create 20,000 illegal migrants coming into Springfield thanks to Kamala Harris's policies. Her policies did that. Yes, we created an active focus that allowed the American media to talk about the story and the suffering caused by Kamala Harris's policies.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats.
And what we're going to do is we're going to send mass men to this marginalized group. And we are going to take them, put them on planes, put them on buses, put them on trains, and send them to a prison camp in a foreign country. What am I describing right now? Am I describing Germany? Am I describing the United States right now? Because I will tell you what, you think that the prison in El Salvador is not a fucking concentration camp. You're out of your fucking mind. Tell me.
At least in Nazi Germany times, you had to conquer the fucking country to make them take your Jewish victims, as opposed to El Salvador just getting $6 million to take them. Jesus.
Anybody that's returning, you think anybody's getting out of there with some rehabilitation center? Do you think I've been to those places in South Sudan and around in those areas? Do you think anybody's getting out of those South Sudan prisons? Ever? Out of your fucking mind. That's a death camp. You're done. You're over. And if you're not dead, you would want to be dead if you were in that region. We just sent a bunch of people without due process, some of them most likely illegally in the United States. Like, I think of that poor guy that they said was a gang member because he had a tattoo on his arm that was a makeup artist. And they changed it to Mr. King. He literally a makeup artist that fled, I think, I'm making it up.
To be fair, he did have, MS. He did have, the letters MS and then 13 on his fingers, remember? Real tattoo, by the way. It just looks photoshopped from this angle. I hate boomers so much. I actually hate boomers. When they were saying, don't, at the very least, my schooling should have been easier, okay? My schooling should have been easier because we were banned from using internet sources. We were banned from using fucking magazines online. You had to get the physical fucking magazine. Hey, internet sources, guys, because you guys are too fucking retarded to tell what's right and what's wrong. You're too fucking stupid to know what's real and what's not. You guys are using .coms when you should be using .orgs, and God forbid some of you using .nets because you know you're retarded. And now that we're older, it's the boomers that believe every random fucking thing they see online. Every random thing they see, they believe. Holy shit. It wasn't a warning, it was a fucking prophecy.
Venezuela, because of a dictator, it came to the United States and sought asylum, received asylum, and they literally take this poor guy, and they pick him up, and he has a family, and he has friends, and he has an entire community, and they give him no due process, and they put him on a plane with maybe a bunch of other criminals, and send him to that fucking hellscape. He's dead, and nobody gives a shit. I mean it. Like, we sit here, we talk about the one guy, because there's a clear legal path to being able to get him back. What about all those other people? Am I supposed to feel for someone? Am I supposed to be like all these Democrats say, you have to talk about and realize that people are really upset about illegal immigration. Fuck you. How do you think your hotel room gets cleaned? How do you think you have food on your fucking table? Who do you think washes your dishes? Who do you think does your fucking garden? Who do you think is here by the fucking just strength and will that they figured out a way to get here because they thought that they could give themselves and their family a better chance? And true.
That one girl couldn't have walked it back on the wheels, but because they're kind of progressive, she cucked herself, and she's like, fuck. Because she was like, Donald Trump, who do you think is cleaning your toilets? And then they were all like, ooh, no. Actually, illegal immigrants work all sorts of wonderful jobs in the United States. She had to walk back home. I don't care, never mind. You know what I mean.
He somehow convinced all of us that these people are the fucking criminals. white men in America are 45 more times likely to commit a fucking violent crime than an immigrant. And the media says, well, and you got David Axelrod and, you know, Rahm fucking Emanuel. Like so fucking smart Rahm Emanuel. They said, we got to understand that these people are really mad. And we got to appeal to these white voters. Trump, the only people that fucking appealed to those fucking white voters was Joe Biden, 81 years old. And he got 81 million votes. And he did because, not because he appeased their fucking Trumpian sense, but because he challenged it. And he said, you can be an 81-year-old Catholic from fucking Scranton that doesn't understand it, but still has empathy for transgender people and immigrants. Then nobody said, oh, Joe Biden's going to turn us into a socialist state, no matter how much they said it. But these guys think that we need to run away from all values in order for us to, I say, fuck you. How are we getting those people back from fucking El Salvador? Because I'll tell you what, if I became president in 2 years from now, or 4 years from now, or 3 years from now, I would pick up the phone and call the fucking president of El Salvador and say, you either fucking send them back or I'm going to fucking invade. It's a fucking
A. Never mind, I changed what I said earlier. I would vote for him.
crime what they're doing. He's a fucking dictator thug.
Bukele or Trump?
Both.
You wouldn't even have to, by the way, you wouldn't even have to say that. This would be like a Reagan election, Iran hostage deal, where if a Democrat president came in and made it known, it would be like the inauguration is happening and the plane is in the background with everybody coming back. The idea that the Trump admin tried to be so cocked and say, oh, we can't get any of those people back. They're being held by the mighty nation state of El Salvador, by the world power, the empire of El Salvador. We can't challenge their or contest their military might, their abilities to capture and hold people indefinitely. There's no way we could get those people back.
The craziest thing to me, especially interviewing migrants and like hearing about the journey they went through to get here, you got some people who walked for 30 days to the deserts of Mexico, into the Arizona desert in 110-degree hot summer. Their feet are bleeding. They have a gallon of water.
Getting owned last election has broken Stephen. Endless whiny whinging. The funny thing is that you guys are crying. You're not even crying about the 2020 election right now. You guys are crying about Obama from 2016. You guys are digging up tears from decades past right now.
There's people dropping dead while they're walking who they physically cannot stop to help because they are so determined, and because the coyotes trafficking them will kill them if they stop too. And they finally get to the US just to do menial labor. And you have people saying like, do it the right way. It's like, trust me, if there was an easier way, they would have done anything but that. And secondly, I feel like anybody who goes to that length to get here deserves to fucking be here. I mean, deserves to be an American. Like, we didn't do shit to get here. I mean, I'm sure at some point, like...
I don't use this argument because conservatives are just so mind-rotted against it, but it is true, okay? Legal immigrants did way more to be here than your fucking ass did. You were lucky you got born here, shut the fuck up, and be happy, okay?
Our great-grandparents did get on the boat from Ireland and were like, fuck, I don't know what's gonna be over there. But it wasn't like the grueling conditions that people experience on the way here. And it's just a lack of humanity. And also, the lack of understanding as to how American corporations economically dominate those countries and how U.S. intervention has created unlivable conditions there too.
And are the incredible beneficiaries of that new blood that enters our bloodstream year after year after year. The only thing that makes us different from fucking China or Russia or anywhere else or Europe or anywhere, and the only reason that I believe that we as America are different beyond the fact of the idea of the Constitution, the idea that we represent, is immigration. And I can't even believe sometimes I'm having this discussion with anybody. How do you think that we are reborn every generation? How do you think that we attract the smartest people in the world to the United States of America? To immigration. I mean, we sit here, I mean, like, just think about it. You got some motherfucker who's made over $251 billion being a United States citizen that got here and stayed here illegally before he got his citizenship, sitting here lecturing us on who we should allow into the United States of America and giving us a fucking pile of Hitler along the way. Are you fucking kidding me?
And talking about how gangs are like a threat that's going to come here from other places. I'm like, MS-13 started in the Koreatown in LA. Yeah. Not to mention, like, the U.S. prison system invented gangs.
Yes.
Like, we are basically like the creators of worldwide gang warfare. Like, the styles, basically everything about it. And so it's just crazy the idea that, like, we're going to build a wall.
I'm not 100% sure after that.
Yeah, they keep gang members out. Get 21 Savages on that.
Yeah, exactly. Or, you know, or we sit here and watch Sons of Anarchy. It's just such bullshit. It's just such racism. It's just so easy picking. And it just makes me so angry. Have you read that quote?
Oh my God. Turn off the stream if you can't handle cringe for a second.
I like your cut, bro. Where'd you get it?
I honestly don't know. My girlfriend bought it.
Yeah? You ride any motorcycles? You do? What do you ride?
Harley 2000, V200, 2000.
A V2000 Harley. You ride in the club? No? Anyone ever said anything to you about that?
About what?
That vest?
Occasional people here and there.
Anybody on another motorcycle say anything to you?
No, not really.
You should be real careful wearing that.
That's what I've heard.
I should take it from you right now, but it's the middle of the daytime. Just letting you know, though, you shouldn't fucking wear that. Because you didn't earn it. There's a lot of people that died to wear patches on the back of their vest. And the Sons of Anarchy one, you're spitting in their face.
Just a TV show, though.
It is just a TV show. And you riding around shits on everybody that fucking worked their ass off for it.
Yeah.
Could you imagine going up to some dude that's wearing like a... Are there gyms in Naruto? Like a headband from the fucking Naruto gym? And you're like... You better take off that headband, son. You haven't practiced any of your... ninjutsus? I've never seen the anime, but you know what I mean, right? Is Sons of Anarchy a real motorcycle? No. No, it's a TV show. It's a fucking TV show!
But you know, this is going to be basically your warning. But it's a nice present from her. I get it. But for your own sake, I'm giving you a freebie right now that you shouldn't wear that.
Thank you for the warning.
There's a lot of guys out there that do ride for real clubs that this conversation would go a lot different. So I'm just letting you know ahead of time. So I should take it right now. But you don't really look like you knew, so I'm going to give you your one warning. Okay? At least that way you know that if someone does stop you and you get your fucking face kicked in, at least that way you know why. So just an FYI. Just figured I'd let you know. It's Emmett, Idaho. There's not a lot of people here. Not a lot of people that ride in clubs in this general area, but I'm just letting you know that for future sake, especially if your chick's with you, it's probably not good if you get your face stomped in front of your chick, but I'm just letting you know that you may want to take that off. Just because it's not respectable. Like, you might be a respectable guy, but putting that on is a disrespectful move when people are on motorcycles.
I can understand that.
So if you could actually do me a huge favor and take that off right now and just put it in your back seat or something, or put it in your trunk, that'd be awesome. To come off like a dick, because I'm in a nice mood right now. But if this were any other time, someone would definitely yank that shit from you, and the conversation would be a lot less friendly.
Yeah, I completely understand.
So it's a nice gift. I get it, but hang it on your wall and don't ever wear it in public, because you're asking for trouble basically. So I appreciate you doing that. You have a good one.
From Dietrich Bonhoeffer.
No, it's a cool name though. I wish it was my name.
Dietrich Bonhoeffer was a philosopher in the 30s in Germany. He fled Germany, but he went back to be part of the resistance inside of Germany against the Nazis. He was a devout Christian, a real intellectual writer and thinker about...
Just so you know, when people talk about fighting against the elites, this is what they were talking about. This is what MAGA and the Trumpers are talking about. We're talking about people that went to school, got an education, and know some history. These are the elites that they're mentioning, okay?
Why Christ in everyday life in society. And he wrote this piece about the Third Reich, and of course he was imprisoned and murdered by the SS. He wrote this quote, I'm paraphrasing. Basically, it says is that the real problem, obviously in the context of what was happening in the world at that time, is not evil. And it's kind of like, Hannah Arendt's, banality of evil. You know what I mean? When
Stupidity is a more dangerous enemy of the good than malice. Against stupidity, we are defenseless. That's a fact.
It's not evil. It's kind of like, Hannah Arendt's, banality of evil. You know what I mean? When she with this Eichmann gods, and I can think so. It's like evil is boring. The real problem is stupidity, is ignorance. Because how do you defeat ignorance? You can point out to people that are here of the evil of something. And I mean this sincerely. I don't know anyone personally that took Stephen Miller, isolated, and you played a clip of the things that he says.
Every day we arrest another alien they let into this country who raped a child, who beat a woman.
Quote,
I don't even know if like Himmler, Goebbels. I don't even know if these people were as blatant as some of these guys. Like, I don't even know if it's a good comparison. These guys are so... I don't know if they still do this in the White House press briefings, but it's like, hey, guys, time to do our 20-minute immigrant crime roundup. So in Phoenix, Arizona today, we arrested one illegal immigrant who had been convicted of 15 traffic infractions. Over here in Colorado, Denver, an illegal immigrant that had murdered somebody. We just got him arrested today. Down here in South Florida, sunny Miami, we arrested an illegal. It's actually like